We going?
Yep.
All right. It's Monday, October 13th. Welcome to the St. Paul Regular Town Council meeting. At this time, we will do a call to order. Robert Simmons.
Here.
JT Trevino.
Here.
Justin Graham.
Here.
Ken Swanner, the mayor, I am here. David Dryden is absent, and Larry Nell.
Present.
Okay, we do have a quorum at this time. If y'all would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I appreciate that very much. Item 3 on your agenda is announcements. We don't really have any new announcements for this particular meeting. You'll see some upcoming stuff on a newsletter, things of that are going to be coming out. I have no public comments at this time, so we will go by item number 4. On to the consent agenda. Item number 5, review of the September 2025 monthly financial reports. Consider approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held on September 8th. And consider approval of the minutes from the special called council meeting held on September 22.
It's awful hard to ask questions about this
Without
the administrator here.
again, it's without the town administrator here, would y'all?
We can defer
We
the
can.
approval of the September monthly financial report, but I think that we could.
Until Scott returns?
Yeah, we could probably move forward with that.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Good.
Okay.
Do I have a motion?
I motion that we receive the consent agenda with the exception of the monthly financial reports.
Sorry, I was just talking about 5.1 so far.
Okay, well, that's my motion. I guess if we don't want to approve that motion or second it, that's fine. Okay, all right, so Zias, what would you like to motion?
I was just, when we get to the end, is just motion that we defer 5.1 to next month.
Okay.
Sorry.
I guess I'll make a motion that we approve consent agenda, number 5, except with the exception of 5.1, deferring to next month. So we would be approving 5.2 and 5.3.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. It's just that. On to the regular agenda at this time, so we can, JT, do you have any opposition to letting the Toshiba representative cover the printer before your item, or does yours need to go up front? Let's go ahead and just stay with the standard, that's fine. Item 6-1, discussion and possible action to establish temporary council oversight measures during the ongoing personal review.
So I requested that this item be put on the consent agenda, or on our agenda for discussion. There's an attachment on here that I requested to put on here. Luckily, I have it in an electronic form. I want the council to at least consider having a temporary oversight, limiting the authority to the town administrator during the independent review of personnel matters. So I'll just read the resolution that I had concocted. It would still need some numbers, the resolution number. However, I'll just read it verbatim as what I typed up, and hopefully the council will consider it. And it's in my opinion in the best interest for the town. So here is a resolution temporarily limiting the authority of the town administrator during the independent review of personnel matters. Whereas the Town Council of St. Paul, Texas has a responsibility to ensure fiscal accountability, transparency, and the continuity of operations. And whereas an independent review of personnel matters is currently underway, and whereas it is necessarily to temporarily limit the discretionary authority of the town administrator until review is concluded. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of St. Paul, Texas that 1. The town administrator shall be limited to performing only essential routine functions required to maintain continuity of town operations, including payroll processing, utility payments, previously budgeted recurring expenses, and staff scheduling. 2, the town administrator shall not enter into new contracts, initiate new directives with outside vendors, authorize policy changes, reallocate funds, or approve any other non-routine expenditures without prior approval of the mayor or town council. 3, any items requiring action beyond the essential functions listed above shall be presented to the mayor or council for review and approval. 4, this resolution shall remain in effect until the conclusion of the independent review of the personnel matters and further action by the town council. So, I think this is for the best interest of the town during an investigation. So, the town should consider it.
Yeah, some of that is already covered because you can't move funds without our approval from major budgeted areas. So I guess it doesn't hurt for it to be redundant. And I didn't hear, does it say now, is a resolution?
So so it is my knowledge that it's probably in the best interest of the town to have a temporary resolution.
Is it a resolution?
It would be temporary, yes, it would be a
I don't know if
resolution.
I heard it say now therefore be it resolved that,
So,
which it has to say
yes,
that.
now therefore be it resolved
in
by
there?
the town council of the town of St. Paul,
Because that was
Texas.
something I learned recently that has to say now therefore it be ordained for an ordinance or now therefore it be resolved.
So for transparency, I did ask for this to be included in the packet. I never received confirmation of such.
Okay.
So I'm glad it's in the package, so
Okay.
just incomplete.
Okay, any discussion on this?
I have no opposition.
Robert?
Any comments from the
Any comments?
town?
Justin, any comments?
Uh,
Input?
Would say the KSA drainage project be allowed to continue under that stipulation? Would you have to work with, assuming we approve it, as like a theoretical at this point, would it then be on Kent to kind of oversee that?
I guess it would be akin to the mayor's discretion whether or not it should go through town council, or we can change or amend the resolution as such to cite how we see the operations and the business continuity for the town.
Okay.
That item, the drainage contract, concern your property?
Yes.
It should-
Oh, not his, no,
No, yours.
no.
Oh, okay.
Drainage property?
The drainage channel he's talking about, that if we were to proceed forward, it'd affect my property,
Oh,
or,
okay.
and the answer is
I
no.
don't think there's any.
There's no conflict there.
Yeah, it's on Lakeway, it's not on the lawn.
And you're right, it would be at the, and you could go either way. You could delegate that responsibility, authority to the mayor, or you could want to bring it back to council with decisions.
And again, this would be a temporary resolution for during the investigation.
Understood.
And then after an investigation would be complete, whatever determination is made, then we would.
This is for
Reconvene.
check signing as well, or what was?
We still have dual signature
Still have that.
on any payments that get made from town hall, so that's not a problem whatsoever.
So the biggest thing is Payroll changes, scheduling.
Contracts.
Contracting, negotiation, representation.
I can read it again. Just, I know, again, for all intents and purposes, it is not here, so I want to be fully transparent. So now now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of St. Paul, Texas, that 1, the town administrator shall be limited to performing only essential routine functions required to maintain continuity of town operations, including payroll processing, utility payments, previously budgeted recurring expenses, and staff scheduling. 2, the town administrator shall not enter into new contracts, initiate new directives with outside vendors, authorize policy changes, reallocate funds, or approve any non-routine expenditures with prior approval of the mayor or town council. 3, any items requiring action beyond the essential functions listed above shall be presented to the mayor or council for review and approval. 4, this resolution shall remain in effect until the conclusion of the independent review of personnel matters and further action by the town council.
And do we want the end to be tied to that? Or do we want it to be tied to us saying that it's been released?
I think we could tie it to us, it's not bad.
Come back to the council and actively pass another resolution that releases this, or all of it.
That's probably how it would go, wouldn't it?
And just for full, I guess for clarification, perhaps we would backdate this, any changes that would have been made or commenced at the time of the investigation. So the time that we approved the investigation, now I don't think you were here, so I would like, if anything has been changed from that point forward, we revisit that. I don't think anything has, but I think that would be an honest assessment, a fair assessment.
Could I suggest that you take no action on this item until after we have the closed session tonight?
I agree with that.
So how would we proceed to do that since it's an item?
Just move on to the next item.
Yeah, just
Move on? Okay, all right. Do we need a motion for that? Okay.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Clark. All right, 6-2, discussion and possible action regarding a lease agreement with Toshiba Business Solutions for a copier. It's kind of small. Alex printed off this spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet that she had done. I'd ask her not only from you, but also from, did she get other bids? And so they talked to, I believe it was 6 people total, I believe, and this gentleman here and this arrangement of what he wants to propose, he's here to explain it to you, is what Scott and Alex, that's their wishes, that they liked this particular program the best. This gentleman may be able to shed some light on it, so please come up, introduce yourself to the council, and have at it.
Sure. Yeah, so Trent with Toshiba. Again, I hope she provided you guys a copy of the lease and everything. It's pretty standard agreement there. Let's see here. I guess really what questions do you have?
Well, I don't know anything about it. So
Okay, you got to do a full proposal. Okay, I was aware of that. So essentially it is a used 3525 AC. So I looked at multiple options, so you guys can obviously buy off the state contract if you would like to, but we looked at that option. This is actually cheaper than that option, right? And so after talking with Alex, essentially we kind of narrowed down that this was the best option for you guys. We looked at a Lexmark as well, one of my colleagues providing that. And we came up with the Toshiba being the best for the town from a lot of different reasons. For one, it's going to definitely help out on security, right? Because I know that little, I think it's an HP that you guys have right there. It's going to increase the town's security immensely. I know I heard we got a few IT guys on the council, so I don't really need to explain the difference between a retail copier from a commercial one. Let me see.
Is this because you have to log in to be able to get the printouts, or there's encryption on the line?
Everything, encryption to the whole nine. Essentially, this system is
Dual hard drives?
I believe it's I think they call it a steady state drive.
Solid state.
Solid state. There we go. Yes. Essentially what I tell people is, I'm not an IT guy, I'm the sales guy, right? But the same system that we're gonna put in here is the same one we use for all of our government contracts. So for the Department of Defense and things like that, it's the same exact standards. So if it's, as you say, if it's safe enough there, I guarantee it's gonna be safe for you guys. Also, with that, it comes with, why I ask certain questions of Alex when I do, right? So with that being, a big fancy copier like this actually doesn't come standard with Wi-Fi. And they're like, whoa, wait, what does that mean, right? What doesn't make any sense? Well, for security reasons, of course. Something we can add if we wanted to. I don't think we need to. See the Ethernet port.
Yep.
It's a 39-month agreement with a used system. We cannot do any longer than 39 months. I don't think you would want
When's
to
the
do
service, when's the service life over in this printer? Is it?
That's for the length of the contract. So essentially, also with it being used, it is a dollar out agreement, so you guys will own it at the end of the agreement. And then you can choose, if you would like, if we do a good job, you guys stay with the service, and you're just paying service with us.
Okay, again, what's the service life of the printer? What's the expected end service?
Oh man, expected end service, that is a great question. With your guys' volume, a long time. So for
The question
example,
I'm asking, when's the model go end of life?
8 years roughly, but again with Toshiba, that's not a hard 8 years, right? That's
So I'll
just
still
a
have-
suggestion.
I'll still have driver support and all that.
100%, 100%. I have
9 months from now.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, yes. And the 3525 is our current newest model. We don't have it's our 2025 version, right? So,
How long has this model been in production?
I want to say 2 years.
So you got 6-year service life, based on what you said.
Correct. But even after we release a new model, Toshiba, like I said, doesn't have a hard schedule on when they stop driver support. I have systems that are still white and blue and do not have a touchscreen that we service, that have been in the field for 15 years.
What's the service SLA in this?
Um,
And is it
service,
differentiated between toner and components breakdown?
as far as difference between service, it's all standard OEM products.
Well, if I call you, what's your response time?
Oh, got you, sure. So, our response time is, what I like to say is the number that everybody throws out is a 2-hour response time, right? Now, that only it factors in when we call you or when we contact you, right? And that's for all other copier companies, right? So what I like to focus on, about 2 hours, to answer your question, but what I like to focus on
And
is
show up time is what?
correct. And first call efficiency rate. Our first call efficiency rate is over 92%. And essentially what that means is when we show up.
Are you going to be here within 24 hours, 48 hours, or what?
Correct. So within 4 hours. A service tech will be here
Within
within 4 hours.
On a business day.
Yep, correct. Now if you place a call at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, he'll be out here this morning.
Okay. And that's for everything break fix on the device?
Everything except for
All the
paper.
your couch, paper too?
No, I said everything except for paper,
Okay.
things
Is
like
this
that.
11 by 17 capable?
Yes, 12 by 18 actually.
12 by 18? Does this have any Mylar sheets on it?
I don't believe so.
How many rollers on the machine?
How many rollers are on the machine? That is a great question. I am not 100% sure. I'll have to get back to you.
It's not $240 a month, is that what I'm saying? $240 a month? Roughly? Rough math? Math in public, as we say?
I believe so, based on your guys' volume, of what Alex provided.
I thought that was 163 per month.
Well, that's,
You gotta pay for the machine and the service, and it's like,
Yeah, so even though that's probably the total out the door.
Right, right.
Right, so you'll have to pay this, plus in order to have this, you'll have to maintain it with Toshiba. Is that an accurate assessment?
yes. Now again, that service covers everything, as well as IT support. So, your guys' IT company does not have to worry about printers and copiers. I've worked with lots of IT companies, they don't like dealing with that.
is it just south of 3,000 a year?
33, yeah.
33?
3,300 after the,
Right.
well,
And what are we spending right now on printing?
About 2,000.
It's 24 or 25, I think, but yeah, it seems a little bit higher than I expected.
what was the cost difference from this to new? Wouldn't a new MFP be roughly 5?
Correct, so we had looked quickly, I think it was like $125 a month, same service, because right now, you know, just your guys' lease was 88.35.
Yeah, 88.35.
Well, especially with the new rule with the state, and how long it takes for us to, you know, between when we know what the agenda is and when the,
Yep.
drop that thing off one day, go pay for it to get done, and come back the next day. Meanwhile, you're still getting work done. Don't wait. I heard we have people waiting. Don't wait, just drop it off, come back the next day.
Well, I
We're saving
mentioned,
their time. They're not having to monkey
well,
with all this
yeah,
stuff.
and I
And
mentioned
they're
that.
having to bind and collate and all that kind of thing. You know, it's a lot of work.
Does it have a stapler?
We've had consistent feedback
Yes.
from the town.
Finger finisher.
We've had,
Stapler full touch.
yeah, can it go through, you know, like an inch worth of paper? Because it's usually about an inch thick.
Yeah, this is a
This
slip
one
package
is
this time.
Yeah,
This one's
very-
thinner.
Yeah, this is very skinny.
There's reasons probably for that, but we've gotten consistent feedback that making these packets takes a lot of effort. And so I don't know that I want to put that on the staff to do and spend more money to have a machine in here. If we can support the local printing shop and give it to them one day, come back the next day and get it. And it's less money per year to do that than it is to buy a system, or to lease a system, sorry.
I think if we came up with a uniform policy, following what you're saying, where when the agenda and the packet come out, that stuff's something that Alex could take, drop off, have it ready.
Like on your way home, drop it off.
Right.
On your way to work the next day, pick it up, something like that.
It's
Something like
a
that.
possibility.
Yeah.
If it was very regular, then they could just fit that into their schedule.
Right.
Right.
But definitely,
Email?
No, it was just, it was a question we asked last session.
yeah, no, I know.
Exploring it.
I
so
heard it.
the
I
math-
watched the
math
video
doesn't add up.
with them. I watched the video, so I'm
Okay.
familiar. But,
Cool.
yeah, I just, and we need to explore this, because we need to figure out, you know,
Right.
does it make sense?
So-
So I'm not knocking it, by the way, I'm just saying.
So color, toner, are we cyan, magenta, yellow?
Cyan, magenta, black,
CMYK.
yeah, same like that.
Okay.
All included in the service. As well as calling a tech out, you know, preventative maintenance, anything like that.
And what's the monthly overage per page
So
fee?
you guys won't have an overage because it's cost per copy. So essentially, you just pay what the,
Paper use.
yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. So that would require a, I guess a VPN tunnel for us? So you would have to have connectivity to it?
It's all connected to through the cloud.
Cloud.
Yes, essentially. Now, I mean, we can definitely essentially not connect to the cloud, but then Alex will be essentially sending us meters and all that kind of good stuff every month. Completely up to you guys.
Is it badge capable? Badge
Yeah.
free capable?
Well, that's what I brought up earlier, right? So, for example, like Wi-Fi. Now, we can make it badge capable, but it does not have an RFID reader on it right now, so that we can add, but not at the moment.
It's just good to know.
So the base is 88.35 per month, right?
Yes.
And then every page we print is the .014 and .091 rate.
Correct.
Okay, does that include toner and paper?
Yes. So essentially, the service portion,
Not per- no
Not the paper.
the per print covers everything but paper and staples, you know,
Okay.
for the system. And then I would say, usually I say taxes, but you guys don't pay taxes, so.
I thought you said we weren't on this overage.
We're basically always on overage. It's per page.
Per page,
Yeah.
that's what I read
Zero is the
earlier, right.
overage.
Zero is your overage?
Yes.
One.
One page, there you go.
Is it physical page or is it impression, by the way?
It is the physical page, and on top of that, I've, already informed Alex, little things like, and this is with every copy company, if there's a dot of any kind of color on that page, it's counted as a color page,
Yeah.
right? And so, we set up things beforehand as, to read black and white only, and then if we need to change the color, we'll change the color on purpose.
Yeah.
We set all that stuff up for
So
you guys.
per impression, a page is 2 impressions, huh?
For like front, back, yes. On top of that, it covers, also training for the length of the partnership. So if we bring in somebody new, hey, we don't know how to use a copier, we need to get the emails reset up, we need to do whatever, we cover all that as well. It does some other things I was telling Alex, like, it could be nice. I worked with some other, larger city governments in North Carolina when I was with Toshiba, North Carolina, and, you can print banners, right? So we could do a 1 foot by 4 foot banner. And they would use those for, signage for like a city-held golf event, or, they got a little crazy and started doing happy birthdays for the staff. But things like that, on all waterproof paper as well, so. We can do some cool things, as well as, for example, I don't know, right, exactly how big all these packets are you guys are talking about. We can also do a schedule print, right, that's just the software and the program and the driver. And so we can schedule it to print, all those pages at 2 a.m. So you come in the morning and they're printed and ready.
How big was the tray again? I'm sorry.
Are you talking about the paper feed tray or the exit tray?
The feed tray and the exit tray.
Feature and exit tray, I believe this system has a large capacity feeder on it, so I want to say it can hold a total of 3,000 pages at a time.
Okay.
And then the exit tray is, I want to say it's 5,000 pages total.
So we'll take a printout for us. That's the question.
Is there any questions that we didn't ask that you feel we should know?
Sure, 100%. So, for example, there is one thing in there. In the terms and conditions, the biggest things that people don't talk about, that essentially we get when essentially me or somebody like me doesn't talk about, is the service charge every year, right? So it can go up 15%. So essentially that is your cost per copy rate. Can go up 15%. Doesn't mean it's going to. It just means it is. It's getting older. If let's say you guys have this system for 8 years. At the 8-year mark, it's going to cost more to maintain it than it would this year. Simple as
If we
that.
decide to, we don't like paying month to month, and if we decide to just purchase outright, does the rate per page go down at all?
No.
No? Okay. So there's no benefit from leasing to not? Okay, understood.
Not in this case, no.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we just need to discuss with staff whether we decide to go forward or not. Take into consideration Robert's comments, which I firmly agree with, that it's worth having a discussion with Alex and Scott first.
Okay.
So, and I can take that action.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you very much, I appreciate your time.
Yes.
Do we need to make a motion to table this until the following month, or just?
So, we did what we needed to do for this. We can put it back on the agenda if we need to take action, because we need to adjust, I would think we need to adjust budgets.
Yeah, I make a motion, we table this.
I don't think we have to table, this action's done. We just have to bring it
We
back.
discussed it. Yeah.
It says impossible action, that's the reason. We don't have to do anything, just let it go.
We
Just make sure we bring it back.
Okay.
If you tabled it, and that's really more so that it's just postponing it to another date, that's an option, you can do that. So that it's clear on the record that you expect it to come back at a certain agenda at a future date.
Understood.
Or you can just take no action and use your other methods to make sure it gets on a future agenda.
I would like to do it by exception, meaning that if it needs to be done, then we bring it back. I don't think it needs to be done. I think that we can give the advice that that I gave earlier to them, and if they don't like that, then we can bring it back.
Okay.
But actively bring it back, not required to come back.
Okay. I've got a note on that, and I'll make sure Scott gets that.
Thank you.
So we'll take care of that. You all good?
I'm good.
Okay. Item 6-3, at this time, Mark, I'm going to pick on you a little bit while we're here. I'd be more than happy to continue going. We need to go to executive session for just a little while, if that's possible. And then we can come back.
You're in charge.
Well, I'm asking you, I don't want to run you out of here.
I'll be on if I'm going.
Yeah, we can mute it.
Albiel, is he on here?
Yes, he is.
Skip 6-3?
And you're muted, so.
I need some clarification.
Are we skipping 6-3 or?
Well, it'd be nice to get Clark out of here, but I've got something I can share with all of y'all in KSA as far as that goes. Okay.
Because we got Albiel on the line too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about him. Albiel, are you there?
Yes, Mayor, I can hear you.
There you go. So we're we're down to item 6.3. Do you have a copy of the agenda in front of you?
I had it and I just closed it out, but
That's fine, that's fine. I'll read it so you know. So there's several things that have your name written on it. 6-3, discussion of possible action regarding street and drainage improvements. Let's isolate Lakeway drainage channel off of that. And Robert, I would like for you to be able to ask Abiel any questions that you have.
Well, it's really, there's questions for Abiel, but there's really action by the council is that I would like to propose, like I've been talking about for years prior to pretty much all y'all on this board, is that we hand over the operations and the future planning to a KSA. We have them run the roads and drainages. We don't have our staff run them. And we have them in charge of it. They become the custodians of the roads, and we outsource that to them to take care of this. Because I think they can probably do it more efficiently, and they can make sure that we have a long-term plan in place that allows for bonds if we need to have a bond to do some actions, because, you know, bonds, I know we have not had one in this town that I'm aware of. We've done some weird situations where we made the citizens pay for things and then we paid citizens back and stuff like that. Some really strange stuff back in the 80s, I think. But bonds are not necessarily a bad thing. You know, all of us probably can't afford to go buy our house without a mortgage. That's what a bond is for the town. You know, it's something, it's a way to purchase something that we can't buy in one budget year. And so as long as we, you know, plan that properly, it doesn't impact your budget. It's something, it's actually a way we could use our road budget, because every year that I've been on the council, we've not used our road budget fully. So to get better at that, using a company with the manpower that could have those kinds of plans in place, then we could really have better road systems. Because we have some roads that are great, we have some roads that are not so great, we have some drainage that's been fixed and other drainage that hasn't been fixed. Having a company that we can put in charge of this, I think would be very helpful, considering how small the town is, and we've not been successful in the years that I've been on council managing this out of this building. We've been marginally successful at times, but mostly we just can't seem to get major projects done. The major projects that I've seen gotten done were done with the assistance of the county or with inspiration. And I have not seen us be able to pull them off by ourselves. I've seen us do some small things, and certainly the cul-de-sacs being turned into concrete was a good idea that we were able to execute on. And there's been some bubblegum patches throughout the years with crack seals, but that's not what I'm wanting to see. I don't think that's what the citizens are wanting to see. We have a lot of money in the bank that we've taxed away from our citizens, and we ought to have a plan to use that money. And one of the main things that St. Paul does is provide roads and drainage. So that's what I'm really proposing here, and I wanted to have KSA here so they can talk to whether or not they could take that on.
Did you understand that, Abiel?
I do understand that, Mayor, and the short answer is yes, and we often work with a team. You often have three components to launching a bond proposition. An engineer or a consultant to help scope the projects that are the targets. I mean, thinking of infrastructure projects. And second is a bond counsel to help navigate the legality and keeping the entity in compliance with state laws regarding how to issue bonds. And the third is a financial consultant to be able to prepare the financial strategy and the scoping and the analysis that can help the council arrive at things like a bonding capacity, some kind of schedule, etc. I won't pretend to be an expert on the actual issuance of a bond, but we often play the part of the engineer in that three team situation, and so I'm familiar with how to get you started and how the team can be formed. Offline, I can reach out to those contacts from those two entities to kind of help the conversation along on what the town may need to do to pursue that option.
Let me
Meanwhile, sure.
Let me clarify what I heard Robert say a little bit differently. You're basically saying we want someone to manage our roads for us effectively. As a service.
Yeah, I want to outsource to either KSA or somebody to manage the roads, both near term, so this year's plans.
Yeah, I understand that, but that's not what I heard out.
Two year, yeah, so let me, thanks for the platform, if you don't mind me trying to reiterate or say it a little differently. So the near-term needs for the town, which does include crack and seals and things like that that have to be done to keep the roads that we have in decent shape. So I understand that, and I don't think that's not something we need to do. But then, a 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan that may or may not include bonds. I'm not saying we have to do bonds, I'm just saying that we haven't had the horsepower in this organization to be able to figure out how to do that. And I believe that a bond, if you don't mind me doing the analogy again, is a very good way to handle large projects like finishing the concreting of St. Paul Road, like doing something with drain that may be more permanent, which might be a concrete road, with Paul Wilson Road, and some of our other these highly trafficked roads that we're having to put patch on top of patch on top of patch.
I think
concrete might be a way to go. And it's hard to buy, with the analogy, real quick, the analogy, if I didn't have the ability to get a loan, I'd probably still be living with my parents or an apartment. I was able to buy a house because I was able to get a loan, and it didn't blow my budget. And I'm not asking to blow St. Paul's budget for anybody listening online or whatnot, or for you gentlemen here on the dice. Did I say it right? What I'm trying to say is that within the budgets that we already have, we could exercise different vehicles that other towns use to be able to really improve our road systems and our drainage systems for the citizens, and use that $2.4 million that's in the bank to be effective for our citizens. That's what I'm looking for. And it may or may not be a bond. I think it is, from what as long as I've been on here, I think it is some kind of bond with a long-term plan that properly uses that bond money to do a good job for our citizens. So it's not, Abiel, it's not just the longer-term plan, it's also the short-term maintenance of it. I want to outsource that to outside of this organization because we have not been able to be effective, in my opinion, on that part.
let me see if I can, so Abiel, let me see if I can maybe make this.
I think I understood, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking about asphalt, like the asphalt repairs we do with WOPAC now, would it be WOPAC that we, again, that handles the day-to-day, and Abiel and that plan that you mentioned for those future goals? And the only reason I mention that is this. Vista Oaks is our largest concrete subdivision that we have in St. Paul. 2.5 million will not fix that area if we go out too fast, right?
Yeah.
And so because of that, that's my question.
Are you talking about the drainage portion? Because
both.
I would not expect,
Both.
their concrete roads, when I've driven them, haven't been in that bad shape.
No, they're in great shape.
Yeah.
That neighborhood was built in 2004,
So I don't
and on a
think-
30-year lifespan,
I'm
we're
not targeting them
2034.
for concrete work. I'm targeting areas that need concrete work that have high traffic. And I'm targeting places that need drainage work that we've made some progress, but need to make more progress on.
Right.
Those are the big two items that I see we need to have a longer-term plan on, but certainly still keeping the day-to-day things working too. So,
Yeah.
to me, it seems like WOPAC is, they still need to keep them, and, we have our attorney here. It seems like that any contractors doing the work is a separate thing because of the way that we contract things. So KSA would be our custodian for the town and be able to be running, but they still have to go through the bidding processes that would bring in WOPAC or other,
Well, the nice thing about it is, as September 1st changed, we went from $50,000 to $100,000 in expenditures, being able to dip into that, right?
Okay.
So before, the state hadn't updated that and was still at 50. Well, the problem is with inflation, it was hard to do any projects for less than 50,000. That's where it became a problem. Now, for that yearly road maintenance where we have 100,000 in the budget, we're able to actually utilize that 100,000 where we haven't in the past.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing for our asphalt roads. It doesn't address what you're talking about, which is kind of a separate entity. And I agree with you. It's something that could be looked at.
I don't want to have us still managing multiple entities. I don't want us doing WOPAC for near-term stuff and KSA for long-term stuff, and now we have conflicts because we can't manage that either.
Does that make sense, Abiel, what he's talking about? You managing WOPAC, the day-to-day as well as the long-term?
Yes, I completely understand the question now. Appreciate the clarification there. And what you're describing generally is called program management. And we do offer that service. Right now, we're actually working with the city of Sherman on some of the expansion that they rapidly need because of the TI expansion up there. And so we, exactly like how you're describing, we manage the capital improvement plan, one that they already have, and see to the execution. And so there's a strategy behind doing what projects when. They issue bonds. They have projects that are already in construction, and so Paved Dawson KSA is helping manage the consultant team that is managing the contractor, or in some cases interacting with the contractor themselves. So similar to how you're describing projects that are much larger projects that need some kind of intricate design, and then going out to bid, and then managing a contractor that wins that job, but also doing through WOPAC and managing WOPAC for the maintenance needs, the crack sealing, the pothole repairs, for the shorter term, maybe annual improvement projects that you're kind of targeting to try to keep up with the everyday pothole repair needs and things like that. So yeah, what you're describing is a program manager, which is what a service that we offer. And I'm so sorry if you can hear some background noise. I'm not.
Oh, we can hear you fine.
And so okay, great.
Yeah, so Abiel, on that, so if you find like some potholes that need to be patched, what's the process for that? Do you go to council with kind of a list of things, and then we kind of say yay or nay on that, or are you just completely autonomous?
I'm saying be autonomous.
Not complete.
It's autonomous, but with very
Within the
clear
budget.
bounds. We would never put ourselves in a position where we would be expensing, of course, without your knowledge, making
Right.
decisions that are budgetary in nature, other than you've assigned a certain budget, and if the project is moving along within that budget according to the scope that is agreed to, then that part is autonomous. But of course, the team would come to council, I imagine, having regular updates, of course, under this program management situation. And so it's semi-autonomous, and not to, the part that's not autonomous is making decisions that impact your budget in a way that is not expected.
Right.
That's what I imagine.
And then what's the extra cost that we would be paying KSA for project management?
Like, is it a percentage over,
That's
the
the
bid?
traditional way, a percentage of the capital improvement plan, or the value of the project. The best imperfect analogy that I can make is just sticking with the mortgage analogy, like how a real estate agent has a certain percentage. However, knowing that the town has not embarked on this before, I would imagine that we would have a ramp-up phase that is a kind of time and materials, or a not to exceed budget, kind of to make sure along the same lines, what I just mentioned about being semi-autonomous, that you kind of make sure to have total control over what you're expensing. I would hate to ever be in a position where you feel, either real or not, that you feel that these consultant fees are not resulting in anything. So I would imagine that we would put a scope together that has a ramp-up phase in that manner, and then we can craft it according to how you see progress being made, so that you kind of have total control over how we embark together on this program management initiative. And then we do have, as you may know, I have a whole team behind me that you kind of hardly ever see, because I'm the one that goes to council most often. But we do have program management experts, and I would kind of get them on board for the latest and greatest methodologies and tools and resources to make this program management scope effective. For example, in the city of Sherman, we've activated our like GIS arm to track projects and things like that. But I want to make sure to scope the project and scale it according to what you expect. Meaning, I don't want you to overpay for things that you might not want to see.
So that's the reason I asked for either a percentage or cost per job, or is it based on materials listed, or?
Yeah, and that's something he can come back with, right? Because I didn't expect him to.
Yeah, he can easily come back with a proposal, and that's something you would do,
Yes, I would
right?
have to put together a very detailed proposal that gives you a clear idea of what you would expect.
Okay, thank you.
This would be something we'd have
Sure.
to bid, wouldn't it be?
No,
No.
these services, actually, it would be unlawful to bid it. So
Really?
these would be under the Professional Services Procurement Act. The council essentially has to select, in this case, an engineering firm based on their demonstrated competence. And because you've had KSA doing work for you in the past on a lot of different projects, I think you could take a look at their proposal, they bring back to you, and in the motion approving it, if you do approve it, it could incorporate that language about demonstrated competence.
Okay. Did you hear that, Abio?
Abio, in your proposal.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree with everything.
Okay.
Abio, this is
The key word being negotiating, that it's a back and forth to make sure that you're getting what you need out of this
Okay.
proposal.
Hey, Abio, this is JT over here. In your proposal, can you include a town or an updated town evaluation? Prioritizing what it would cost for the town to prioritize road maintenance and drainage. And we can use that for a scope of services. So to allow the town council to be able to prioritize and help make our decision making more efficient.
Yes, Councilor, and fortunately, we have a solid foundation in some of that work that we had done back in 2020. And so, yes, I will make sure to include that in the scope.
Thank you.
I'm thinking ahead of myself.
Okay, thank you.
So that was mainly it. I just, want to make sure that because I don't think that we need to hire more staff, because maybe this isn't a full-time job all the time. Sometimes it might be a little bit more than full-time, sometimes it's less than full-time, but I don't know that we need to hire another person. And as we move forward with different strategies for staffing, to simplify one of the hardest parts, because this is one of the hardest ones we do, is all the contracting and all the maintenance of the roads and ditches and drainage and whatnot. If we can simplify that and make it more turnkey for the folks that are here at home trying to hold down the operations of this building, then we may not have to have as much of that kind of competency here. We can have this staffed and have the harder things being done by KSA or other companies.
I think it's a good idea. I'm on board with it being within budget. I don't know about the bond part yet. I think we need to talk about that more.
It's complete. I was only throwing that out there to point out one of the things that we have not been able to achieve.
Yeah.
No, I think
and again, it may not be necessary. I believe it is. I don't know how we're going to buy a house in 1 year, to use the analogy again.
No.
If we need to do some major things, which I believe we need a lot of major things done, I don't think we're going to be able to do it in 1 year. So we're probably going to have to tackle the bond thing, which means that we have to have a service that can show us what is the good and bad of that, and how we can go forward legally to make sure that we're handling it right.
If we
But
get
I'm sensitive to that. I'm not saying that this means we do a bond, and I want to make sure everybody
Yeah,
hears
okay,
that.
yeah.
But I'm not saying we're doing a bond. I'm saying
Right.
that I want to have somebody managing this that can tell us whether or not we need to, and if we need to, the confidence here that we're doing it right.
So if Abio's able to put together something, a presentation for us to explain this in
Yeah.
further detail, what timeline would you like that to be on?
I would like, for what we asked them now, so the outsourcing the services part to come back in a month. I'd like for him to be able to come back in a month with
Is
how
that
many,
possible, Abio?
just the servicing part, not like,
Yes, it is.
not the long-term plans, not any kind of,
You're talking about the program.
just the program management services that we need to be able to outsource that to KSA so that they can manage the near-term needs as well as start planning for long-term needs and keep within.
Understood.
And keep within the budget that we've given for that.
Sounds good.
Understood, to come back with a framework.
Yeah, to PM to manage the projects that we currently have, either underway or fixing to be underway.
Do we need a
Yes,
motion?
targeting November council works for me, yes.
Okay, yeah, you think in a month you could come back and fill us in on that, or
Next meeting.
next meeting?
Yes, from everything I already know about the town and from this conversation, from this discussion today, I will have a pretty good idea of how to coordinate with our team and come back with a framework that can then translate into a proposal.
Okay,
Thank you, Abiel.
okay. Any other questions on this?
Not me.
Okay, no action taken on this at this time, we'll wait for you for next month, I'll be on that, okay?
Are we gonna talk
Sounds good.
specifics about the drainage, or we're just
We're
gonna,
fixing to get in,
because I thought
That's
that's
the
what
next
this
one.
one was.
well,
Oh, that's 664.
it was kind of yours was streets and drainage from that aspect.
Now then move on.
And now we move on to 6.4, which is discussion possible action regarding improvements to the Lakeway Drive drainage channel and proposal from KSA for engineering. I learned a few things today, I'll need to share with you on that. So came up at the last meeting and I asked a couple of simple questions.
Don't
Do
you
we,
want to read the memorandum?
I'm sorry?
You want to read the memorandum, or I guess that's us, for just us? The 6.4, did you read 6.4?
Yeah, I just did.
Oh, okay, my apologies.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
My apologies.
That's okay. I can read it again if you'd like.
Nope, I got it, thank you.
So I asked a couple of questions at the last meeting regarding that ditch. The question came up as, do we know who actually owns that ditch? And/or were they willing to give up that property if we decided to take it over and do the maintenance? Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so I've had some discussions with the two neighbors down there. They claim that they have surveys that shows that they own that property to the center of the ditch, each side. And I know that one of the two parties is not willing to give up their property to be given to the town. And so that throws a little kink in some of the things when it comes to, that's the reason I asked for different options on the expensive to the cheap, based on if we don't get that property, if we don't have maintenance on that property, how far are we going to go with GeoGrid and the rest of that stuff, and the expense if we're going to turn around and hand it back to the homeowners. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And so that's the information that I've obtained today for council and for you as well. And again, I don't know how we proceed or what your advice would be if the homeowners are not going to give up that property. I know why we're there was from previous work that got done to that ditch, and we need to make it maintainable. But as far as trying to shoot for a 50-year service life, I don't know that we need to spend that kind of money, and I'm open to suggestions from council.
I guess maintainable, like, are we trying to lower the grade so we can easily mow it and then get rid of the rock? Is that are those kind of the two main sticking points with it?
Well, I think from my standpoint, and what do they call that, riprap, right, Albion? The stone, yeah.
Yes.
And so it's on the north side, south side of Lakeway, and it's also down at the end where it connects into Wiley. And so I know to maintain that, the rock's got to be removed. The question is, what inexpensive, if the neighbors are going to take it over and mow, and I talked to one of them today about that as well. And so if we just made it to where they could maintain, weed eat, and mow, as far as that goes, clean out the sediment, get it back to where it was originally and put it back like that, is that feasible, Abiel?
It is.
It's going to wash, we know.
Sure. In the original design, we had a type of turf reinforcement that is the commercial version of laying down plastic chicken wire and letting the grass grow through. I actually did this in my own backyard, but it lets the grass grow through, but then it prevents my dog from rutting the backyard. And this system that we had in the design is called Pyromat, and it is basically stapled, if you can picture industrial version of landscaping staples, and then it lets the grass grow. Once it's established, it's hard to tell that there's anything there, and you can't feel it with your feet, and you can mow it. We had proposed that for the upper part of the channel as a way of stabilizing and preventing any future erosion on the upstream part of the channel, so kind of like away from the main problem area. We had a concrete pilot channel that is typically used to prevent rutting along the bottom of the channel, and then up against the inlet where the pipe is that then goes into the cascades, we did have a product or its equivalent called Fleximat. It's basically little small, like 6x6 inch concrete blocks that are tied together with a mesh, and that mesh lets grass grow through. So at the once it's established, you see the little tiny mounds of stone, but then they're kind of surrounded by grass. The idea is to have something hard and bumpy, which is something that is essential to prevent the type of erosion that is happening up against those homes. But it's an alternative that is just more aesthetic and more rural looking, and more easily maintained than traditional riprap, which is, like you're saying, the dumped rock. It is challenging to mow with a small gas-powered mower. Some of your bigger ride-on mowers are fine, but I will caution that we can switch that out for Pyromat or something that is lighter, but you're trading in ease of maintenance for effectiveness to a certain extent. If we take away all of the bumpy, hard surfaces that really slow the water down.
Okay. Where my question is, I don't know how council feels, is if we spend whatever to put whatever kind of Pyromat or whatever it is in there, the question is the maintenance cost. If this homeowners own it and we're not going to be responsible for it from that day forward, we're cleaning up what got done in the past, putting it back to where it should have been originally. If that's an expensive material that they would have to replace and maintain, then we're forcing them to have a maintenance cost that they may not want to deal with. Does that make sense? Is that something they're going to have to come back and put more of this Pyromat down 5 years from now?
Understood. Yes, I don't picture that that's a fair proposition. The design is intended to fit into a drainage easement that is shown around all of the lots in this subdivision. And so at this channel, there is a drainage easement where the existing channel roughly fits into. And the assumption was that you're installing a drainage facility in that drainage easement. So the property would still be owned by the owner. It's still up for a decision on who will maintain the improvements. And I know that's part of the discussion that we're all having. But the idea was to install this in the drainage easement. So that's an alternative to trying to acquire right away. Since there's an existing drainage easement, a drainage facility presumably can be in there. The resistance of the resistance of a homeowner is of course something that understandably should be taken into consideration, and I know that that's why we're having the discussion today. But there is an existing drainage easement where that channel sits.
Questions?
Clark, if we were to do any type of modifications, any type of maintenance to this drainage easement, would we need permission to be able to, first permission from the homeowner or homeowners depending on who owns it, assuming it's two properties or multiple property owners, would we need permission to make any improvements? And two, is it feasible? Is there a precedent set by any other municipality that has done this before and not take ownership of it and handing it back after maintenance has been completed?
Sure. I would need to see the easement itself. Is it a written easement?
It's on the surveys from what they're telling me.
Okay. So I would.
The challenge with the easement is that it just says drainage easement. And a modern easement, if you were to pursue an easement today, a brand new easement, the easement document would have maintenance responsibilities, the rights that the requester of the easement has. The property, of course, always remains in the hands of the property owner. But that's the only challenge that happens all over Texas. But it's happening here that there is a drainage easement. There just isn't, according to research that the town has done before, an easement document associated with that easement that describes the maintenance responsibilities. Now, to answer your question about what other municipalities do, I have a storm drain easement that the city of McKinney has on my lot, and yes, at any time they can come in and rip up my backyard to access that storm drain, especially in an emergency. But I know that most cities try to work with the homeowners to make sure to have a process to request permission, but understanding that they have the right to access. Tons of cities have, that have water lines and sewer lines need easements to be able to lay water lines that serve multiple properties, for example. Hydrants and things like that in big box stores, for example, that many cities will loop the water line inside the private lot and the city can access that. We require fire access easements because a fire truck would otherwise be trespassing on a property, so to speak, if there isn't a fire lane that's in a fire easement. So typically an easement does allow free access to the entity that is the holder of the easement. Some entities, in fact, are very restrictive, like there are the Atmos easements from hundreds of years ago that carry the very high pressure lines, and you can't even build on top of those easements. I mean, generally you can't build on easements anyway, but they will never even grant permission to build roads sometimes over their gas easements. So it just depends on the easement document. But to answer the question again in a shorter way, yes, if you have an easement, you have access to that easement if you are granted that easement for a specific purpose.
Yeah, I mean, so for example, a lot of times drainage easements will be in common areas of the subdivision that are owned by the HOA. And ideally, a city would have a written agreement regarding maintenance in terms of whose responsibilities, is it the city's or the HOA to maintain certain improvements that are within an easement in a common area. Same thing with just individual property owners. If you can have a maintenance agreement that details that, everybody's better off because everybody knows who has to do what. But in this case, when you've just got a plat that says drainage easement, I think it entitles the town to go in and make drainage improvements and to maintain them. I don't think that you could require the property owner to maintain those drainage improvements outside of an agreement with the owner.
Thank you.
In terms of mowing or something like
It's
that.
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, if it got to be something high weeds, where there's a dangerous, you may have some statutory options there to abate the condition and send a bill to put a lien on the property owner, property and send them the bill.
Well, and I think that was kind of the theory with the municipal court, the rest of it, which is if we were to spend money to repair this, and again, the only reason we're there is because we were there before doing some kind work that kind of got out of hand a little bit, clean it up, and reestablish this ditch. the homeowners, I think, are willing to take care of it. I don't think that's the issue. My only problem was putting something in there that might, in the future, we're not here, but in the future, require maintenance that would be very expensive for that homeowner to have to maintain or replace. That was what I was concerned about more than anything. I think we can get them to sign something that says they know they've got to maintain it. I don't think that's an issue at all. I think they're willing to do that. It's just they don't want to give up that property. If they went and sold the property, they want to be able to claim the square footage.
Oh, that's right.
And Mayor, an agreement could reach, I've seen agreements like this reach a compromise. For example, the maintenance agreement may spell out that the property owner has to mow and maintain the surface in an adequate way, meaning mowing basically.
Right.
But if the partner were to one day unravel because of something that happened, maybe, or whatever, but yeah, that the regular maintenance is the responsibility of the homeowner, similar to how ditches that are in the right of way, the homeowners mow, similar to where I live in the city of McKinney, I'm responsible for the sidewalk to a certain extent.
Okay.
But if there's a major repair that is needed, or when the improvement reaches its design life, then the town steps in to make that repair. So it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It could be the regular maintenance, defined as mowing is responsibility of the homeowner. But then it's in the agreement that if there are structural repairs, then that's where the town may step in as the owner of the infrastructure, so to speak.
Okay. Thank you.
So does this item have the extra proposals, or are we still?
No,
We haven't got catalog.
I don't think, Abiel, you haven't had time yet to create three different options. Did Scott talk to you about that?
I did. I emailed a summary of the cost opinion. I can share my screen real quick. The two options that I had put together, and this is high level. This is on the left there. I had listed out the design features that I kind of summarized earlier of the intent of the project, which is to regrade the channel, have a concrete pilot channel, the channel turf reinforcement, which is the chicken wire material that I'm describing, and then some kind of pipe entrance erosion control, which is the bumpy stones that I mentioned. The potential scale back
Okay, so the other one's the first one. So the top one's the first option you presented a couple weeks or a month ago, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes, what I'm calling the original design.
Okay.
And then the direction was to look at, hey, okay, that was the Platinum, the Cadillac. What reductions can we do and still achieve a scaled back version of what we're trying to do? And so in this reduced scope option, we would regrade the channel, no longer have a concrete pilot channel, and just monitor the bottom of the channel, have limited channel turf reinforcement, so only in the areas that are kind of closer to the right side of the channel on the screen, and then still the pipe entrance erosion control right at the pipe. That is essential. But that seems to arrive at a cost savings of about $50,000. So in our original opinion of cost was $200,000. The reduced scope may scale it back, as you can see, about 25%. And so that's what we had went back and kind of reworked the numbers, taking away some of these scope items as a way of being able to present it.
Questions for Abiel?
So what are the disadvantages of doing that?
That the disadvantage is that we the town is undertaking this big project, and along with fixing the main issue, the plan was to install some preventative measures so that you don't have to revisit this site or monitor it as much. And so that's what the concrete pilot channel would do. It's pretty common for channels of this size to start getting rutting on the bottom because there's always water in there. And then the turf reinforcement would just stabilize the slope more, especially knowing that the mowing is going to happen. But it is true that the slope had been mowed in the past. But, we're already having the contractor bring rolls of this stuff. And so, like I mentioned, this was lining the entire channel as a way of kind of completing the project. But it can be scaled back. There is only so much that you can scale back before you start paying a premium for such small quantities. But we think that this is about a 25% scope reduction. So not a disadvantage. It's just with the original project, you had more of an opportunity to have more of the preventative measures.
Yeah, on the pilot channel you're talking about, if it were me trying to maintain this, I'm just asking questions. So that concrete sidewalk, if you want to call it that, that's down in the bottom, which...
Yeah, that's a good description.
Yeah, and so I've seen that in several different avenues, but if I was a homeowner and had to try to maintain it, A, that might make it difficult along that edge, and B, it's going to get sediment in it, which means somebody's going to have to get a shovel and scrape that sediment out of it. And that's why I'm asking the question, with or without that pilot channel, is that going to still work in the same way where when it's dry this time of year, somebody could get down in there and maintain it anyway?
Yes, it doesn't, you are correct about the sediment, and it is a good point because the channel will accumulate sediment either way. It's just that if it's not a concrete pilot channel, the sediment will just start blending in and the grass will just kind of grow through the sediment. And then the challenge for the town there is that unchecked, the channel bottoms will start becoming uneven and you'll start seeing some little ponding happening. So it's, in that case, now somebody still has to scoop that sediment out and reestablish the vegetation. So removing the concrete pipe, I know what you mean, that the sediment is more visible and so there's more of a motivation to remove the sediment, which is kind of the point. But with the, if the homeowner is to maintain this, yes, I can see how having a grassy bottom, that there is more tolerance for some sediment to be in there without having to be removed more often.
Okay. Thank you. Questions for Abia? Anyone?
Would you take that, what do they call it, we're calling it chicken wire, it's not really chicken wire. After the grass is established, did I hear that we would take that up?
No.
Or is it stay?
It stays.
'Cause I've seen
And I believe, if I'm not
No,
mistaken,
it stays.
yeah, I believe when they first did that years ago, that whoever did that came in and put the pyromat, something similar to that, over the top, but then they never put any sod over the top of that. And I believe that's what happened back then.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because, and I don't know what that looked like, so I might be wrong, but it is a good opportunity to mention this. Sometimes in construction, you will see these hay meshes
Right.
that are literally made out of hay. And then there's a synthetic version that's actually green. And the green one, well, both are meant to just sit over seed and hold the seed there on the slope so that it germinates.
I believe that's what they did.
And
That's what I was
okay.
thinking.
Yeah, I believe that's what they
And
did.
That's not what this is.
No.
And it's tough for the public to see that because the synthetic version, for example, it's called the acrylics, I think, and it actually dissolves with the sun. And so over time, you see pieces of it, and it looks like it's kind of like garbage, but it's kind of doing its job because it just disintegrates, but it looks bad. And so it does happen that sometimes contractors get the two confused, and instead of doing what we're talking about, which is this anchored, plastic that's gonna last forever, and instead they do the mesh that is just intended for construction, like during construction. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is not what we would be talking about, the
Okay.
stuff that sits on the surface, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The pyromet is intended to be anchored to the ground, and then the grass is supposed to weave into the mesh, so they kind of like become vining into the mesh, so that it strengthens it.
So
Especially
would
with
you-
grasses like Bermuda, it
Yeah.
works real well.
Do you seed or you talk put sod over this, right?
No, you put it under.
It could be either one. We had seed in this project, but depending on the time of the year, that might be a decision. If it's a time of year where seed would have a hard time surviving, then we may need to switch to sod, which is more expensive. But it could be both.
Okay,
Right. Okay.
so the sod goes on top of this mesh?
Yes.
You would you would place the sod, and then the mesh goes on top.
Oh,
So
on top.
for the first
That way it can grow into it.
couple of months, you actually see the mesh.
That's what I've seen.
And then over time,
So-
the roots will actually kind of like go over the mesh and kind of like anchor it down
That's
further.
it.
So you're counting on that vegetation to like grab onto that mesh.
Okay, and if they mow it, it's not going to
Right.
cut that mesh?
They won't get, they won't.
No, because it's anchored, it's flat to the
enough.
ground, so you
Okay.
can't even kick it.
Okay,
Yeah.
So, one more question, I think we talked about this last time around, was there was some perception that the piping in the Cascades was too high or something like that?
Sure.
Was that considered or evaluated?
We looked through the drainage report for the subdivisions,
Yeah,
and although the pipe is underwater sometimes, it was designed. That does not mean that it's not working. You can design culvert crossings like this one to operate underwater.
so
or
what you're saying,
have-
Aviel, is there's no fault with it, it's been considered?
No, not that we've found. And I know that's something that, is always a good opportunity to never let go of, to hopefully find something. But I looked through the drainage report, and I don't see anything that was like where they neglected to do the computations correctly.
Thank you.
okay,
Mhm. It just so happens that it operates underwater, and sometimes that's perceived as not functioning, but you can design culverts to be underwater and still work fine.
okay.
It's just a case that it used to be an open channel and now there's a culvert, so it does dam up water, but the channel itself then has the capacity. It's just the erosion issue that's the main culprit of the problem.
Okay. So what do you think is the best step for us, no matter which one of these proposals that we were to choose from? The first steps that need to be gathered is for us to talk with the homeowners, correct? And work up a
Yes,
developmental
I
agreement?
totally agree. Yes, that is essential. We would never want to undertake this without the okay from the homeowners, even if there is an easement that somewhere there's a document that says you can. I know that's not how the town wants to operate. So the opportunity, though, is if they were first approached with the option of giving up property and they said no, then this is Plan B of taking advantage of the easement that's there. It would be good to remind them that there's an easement there, and that's the purpose of it, to have a drainage facility. That's how the channel was constructed in the first place, because there's a drainage easement. And then offer the compromise of, okay, you guys mow, but if there's a major, in the life type of improvement that is needed on the infrastructure, then that's when the town would step in.
Okay.
And then from there, craft an agreement that's pretty clear.
Okay. Clark, do you have any input on this?
I agree, I concur.
Okay. Okay.
Has the city of Wiley been contacted?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I think first thing is to work through this developmental agreement with the two neighbors that we're talking about, come up with a plan. Then at that point, we can approach Wiley, who has offered to cover some, whatever percentage that is on their end. And then we can move forward from there. I know this has drug out a long time, but at the same time, we want to do this right one time so that we can move on, and then we learn from this so that when we get over into the problems we have in Vista Oaks or somewhere else, that now we're familiar with what needs to be done, the process that needs to be done, because we have so many properties, you know that, Abiel, just like this one where it's shared with the homeowners.
No, totally understood, and this sets the stage for how to tackle those, so you want to have a good precedent, especially getting the okay of the neighbors. That will make or break your project for sure.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay, I do appreciate it very much. Anybody else have any questions for Abiel? Okay. We don't need a motion, there's no action until we discuss with the homeowners, correct? And then we can go from there.
Correct.
Okay. Abiel, I do appreciate it. I guess we'll turn you loose for the evening.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right,
And,
thank you.
Just click in.
I'll follow up on my action items. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. So no action on 6-4. Since we have no one here, I guess Mark left, do we want to break over to executive session and so we can get you taken care of? I need to recuse myself?
For part of it, but we can discuss the resolution first, maybe.
Okay, yeah, that's fine as well. So at this time, 8:22. At this time, we're going to executive session as authorized by Chapter 551, Subchapter D, Texas Government Code. The regular meeting will be convened into a closed executive session under the following exceptions. Texas Government Code Section 551.071, consult with legal counsel regarding pending and contemplated litigation and/or the matters in which the duty of the attorney to the governmental body under the Texas Disciplinary Rules of Professional Conduct of the State Bar and Texas clearly conflicts with Chapter 551 of the Government Code, zoning various land use matters and town official boundary map and ordinance relating to town boundaries and related matters of other town ordinances. Man, that's a mouthful. And then B, the Texas Government Code Section 551-074, discuss and deliberate personnel matters, the mayor and legal counsel. At this time, we're in the executive session. You good? We'll dismiss Clark at this time. And I do appreciate your time being here tonight, Clark.
Thank you, Mayor.
So we convene back into regular session at this time at 9:03.
Kristen, Alex.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any actions that need to be taken from the executive session?
Yes, so
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion. Do we know what action it was based on? No, we don't need to. Okay, so we do have an action that we need to go ahead and make. I'm going to present a motion. I'm going to make a motion that we give the town attorney a directive to engage and interact with KSA on behalf of the town of St. Paul, boundary issues in general.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Would you like for me to?
I'll need to,
you write that
typed out or something so I can officially do that. Can you do that?
I can,
Okay, thank you. I would appreciate that and give me that.
And that was for 8.1.
and that would be for 8.1.
That's 8.1, that's
Yes.
correct. Yeah, if you just follow up with that, or you can send it straight to Scott, however you want to do it. But
It's
come through me.
Yeah.
Okay, better deal. Any other motions, anything needs to be made from executive session?
No other motion.
Okay. Larry, you good?
We're good.
Okay. At this time, we'll carry on with back to our regular agenda. At this time, 6-5, discussion of possible action regarding proposal from WOPAC for pavement crack repairs. This kind of goes along with what I told you, Robert, earlier. Now that we have a bigger threshold, we're able to do more. It just so happened that Adam reached out to the town, so the public can know as well, and said he had a crew available. It's that time of year. Normally, we're behind on our maintenance. This would help us catch up. I think if you look at the invoice, I think I looked earlier, wasn't it like 48? Something like that, I believe. But again, he has a crew available to be able to start and do those repairs and get our yearly maintenance back up to date. So that's for you guys to take a look at, and if you have any
Well,
questions.
that's in budget too, right?
That is
So,
correct.
where's the
Is
motion?
this like a phase one? Is there going to be a second phase?
Usually they do asphalt repair, like in the fall, let's say, and they'll do crack seal in the spring. The only thing that I did notice, and again, again, we're staying away from Parker Road, right?
Yeah.
Because of what we have there. And if you take a look at the streets that were included there, I know that Levant Parkway and Lakeway is not on there. That's streets that aren't associated with TxDOT at this time. They've been crack sealed along some of the rebar edges, things of that sort. I don't know if that's something we need to bring up with Adam from WOPAC to double check that.
I mean, the only thing I'd like to really convey to them is there's a decent chug hole that I guess somebody, I don't know who, put some temporary filler in. Over on St. Paul Road, just to the west of West Shore.
And that's something else that we could mention, and we could have Scott.
It's on St. Paul Road, just
West
to the
of West Shore?
West Shore.
Oh, west of West Shore.
West of
Okay.
West Shore.
Did it have anything to do
On
with,
St. Paul Road.
did WOPAC address that? Is that something
was
they
right
did
after-
that came loose?
Right after they got finished, it was not something they did, I don't think. It may or may not be under warranty. I don't think it was something they did. It was just happening right after they got finished.
Well, since this falls underneath the $100,000 threshold, why don't we go ahead and make a motion to get, there's a motion for this, is there not? Yeah, for 6.5. So why
That's
don't we
correct.
approve it and also give it
And add-
directed,
to add-
adding the St. Paul Road west of West Shore and Levant Parkway and Lakeway Drive?
Lakeway
It's
as
about the
well.
size of a Labrador.
And again, I think they've got Frida on here, Metal Art, some of the others. I'm trying to think if y'all can take a look at this as well and tell me if you see any streets not associated right up against TxDOT that we could add to this list.
Can we go ahead and blanket this and to ask WOPAC to go ahead and evaluate anything that's not directly impacted by the TxDOT construction to go ahead and,
I think they're gonna come out here with a crack seal machine, not a paving machine for asphalt. They can do a pothole like Robert's talking about.
That's all.
Yeah, as far as that goes, but this is just for crack seal, so the main thing is,
Can we just have them
do you see any
drive it
streets
down?
on there that we need to include outside of Levant and Lakeway, is my question. We can mention the pothole over there by West Shore.
I mean, they're already looking at St. Paul, so all I'm asking is that while they're doing the
Yeah, fix
crack
that.
seal, just go ahead and fill in
Yep.
any potholes that they see on any of these roads, to JT's point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can type something together and send that in to Scott, if you guys decide that's what you want to
I
do.
would rather do a blanket and, you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, we can point out that we know of one on St. Paul Road, but please look at all roads for potholes.
especially with, if they've got the equipment out here, so there's not an entire,
Right.
what is that, the reassembling
Yeah.
fee? Okay, so for 6.5, pardon?
Redeployment.
Yes, redeployment fee, thank you.
Okay.
For 6.5, why don't we make the motion to go ahead and approve the job and location for the pavement crack repairs on all asphalt streets in the town of St. Paul to include, or including but not limited to, items 1 through 13, the pothole on St. Paul Road west of West Shore, Levant Parkway, Lakeway Drive, and any other cracks and seals that are needed on pavement and asphalt streets in the town of St. Paul.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
That was a little redundant.
Moving to 6.6, discussion of possible action regarding ordinance number 290-25-10-13, the fence regulations. It's kind of been a long time to coming before you guys get to see it, so if you have any questions, anything like that, anything you'd like input-wise,
Just get rid of the variance based on the frontage.
I looked at that, where did I go? Hold on. It mentions front yard.
Up to 6 feet in height in properties adjacent to Parker Road.
Correct, it was
So
giving,
specific to Parker.
a little bit of leeway for the properties that are right up against Parker Road. I don't, if we replace what we currently have with this, I don't believe that it's going to be an issue because nowhere do we say street grade. That's not in here,
Okay.
I believe.
My struggles, I didn't get to read the whole thing this weekend, so.
It's just that they got the diffs marked with the,
Is it?
yeah.
It's got notations, yeah.
I think page 6 is the only one, I think that's the first one I see. That's the,
What's this?
page 6, that's where it contains the Parker Road.
The 3.07007.
So it's the same, it's the same one we saw before, except for that is what you're saying?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever that is.
Oh, okay. 3.07.006. Which includes section 5. In recognition of the high traffic volume along Parker Road, residential properties adjacent to the Parker Road may construct a front yard fence of up to 6 feet, or up to 6 feet in height, extending from the front wall of the residence to the front property line, which is removing item 4, which is all such fence must be designed and located to avoid obstructing the required site visibility triangle. Prior to construction, the town building official must review and approve the proposed fence design and location. The town may also require a property surveyor to verify fence placement and ensure compliance with visibility and safety standards. Which is being removed. Replaced with no front yard fence shall be constructed on a corner lot that does not afford proper visual clearance approved by the town administrator or code enforcement officer for traffic approaching the intersection in either direction. Proper visual clearance shall be maintained for a distance of not less than 20 feet on each street.
I also believe that the 6-foot fence in the front yard will still have to meet the solid area of the front yard fence shall not exceed 50% of the total area of the fence. So it's going to have to be visibility of no more than 50% through the fence to allow code enforcement to be able to
Yeah, I don't know why.
monitor behind it.
Why did they get rid of that?
I don't know. Do we
What's
know
this?
So 3.07010, the abatement of unsafe fences and other violations? That's completely.
Yeah, it's talking about the repair timeline. Take
And
that
now
out.
we have a non-conforming,
What page numbers on this?
that would be 10 of 13.
It's further, one more, I think.
Do we have a
Third.
rush? Do we have a rush to get this done?
Yeah, so it's
this week?
this one and then on the next
Oh, on
page.
the back.
Do we have a need to finish this week, or this month?
No.
Because I think we need to read through this some more. We've got some conflicting.
I agree. You want to
Well, and
make the motion for it?
if we know of things now that we can feedback to understand and get some answers,
Some
if we know some tonight, we need to make sure we put those out there.
Yeah, I guess why, for me, why is the abatement section,
Blacked
out?
out.
Yeah.
The other one that I have on it, we've been through this before, the swimming pool matter, it's mentioned in here, but it's not clear and concise on above ground, below ground, blah, 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 that kind of thing. So we might want to take a look at that, is make sure that's included. I know that's in the ICC's swimming pool and fence ordinance book, which I still have a question. Did we adopt it? We adopted the ICC, which is all of the books, but then we also adopted specific books out of the ICC. So I don't know if that's something we need to just adopt, or if we can pick passages out of it. I can reach out to Travis and see what he says as well on that.
Please do.
Yeah, we need to fit the swimming pool thing in
Okay. If you guys want to, is that a quorum issue? If you each read through this, come up with your questions, send them to me, I can consolidate, send them to Scott. It's not a quorum at that point if you just send them directly to me, right? No discussion.
As long as we don't discuss it, that's what creates the quorum, is if you start bantering back and forth.
That would give you time to look over this at home, really good, plenty of time. Come up with a list, get it to me, I'll compile it and get it to Scott. He can, and I'll do that as soon as possible. P and Z meeting is next week. If it needs to go before them again, that way it'll give us time to do that.
Get it on their agenda, and then we can provide the feedback.
Okay?
That way, we have some more time to get the feedback.
Absolutely. Is that
At least it's
acceptable
on- at least
by
it's on
next
the
week for
agenda.
you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure it's on the agenda for P and Z, and then I'll consolidate and give questions forward to P and Z to take a look at. Okay? Thank you all very much on that.
But I think, we already know, we want to know why that abatement section, there's probably a good reason why it was removed. Maybe there's an abatement somewhere else in our ordinances
Right.
that it doesn't need to be separate called out here.
Right.
But that's one question that we know tonight we need to ask. So you can start out with that one, Mr. Mayor.
Okay?
And weren't there some other ones that we already recited?
Well, yeah, but again, I would appreciate it if
Yeah,
you
okay.
look through it, send them to me. If it duplicates
That's certainly
5
one.
times, I'll
The
consolidate.
abatement one's the one that's.
I've got it noted here.
Okay.
But there again, send it to me anyway. Let's make sure we don't leave any gaps and we get this taken care of. So basically, we want to do no action on this
Yep.
and pass it to P and Z, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any other further discussion you would like to have on the fence, or that's what we're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay. 6.7, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance number 291-25-10-13, amending the budget for fiscal year 25-26.
It says here in the council communication, says, during the September 22nd, 2025 council meeting, council members Graham and Trevino indicated they had additional questions about the budget and plan to submit their inquiries to staff. As of this date, the memorandum was prepared. The staff has not received any follow-up communication from either council member regarding their questions. Interesting. I'd like to see some type of remittance of communication from the staff at all. So, before I, the elected official, am having to reach out for having to have communication, I would like our employee to reach out to me to ensure that I'm actively emailing the correct email address. And then I'll send over my notations of the budget and any corrections that I found that should be, he should have found.
Understood.
Because if I go through this entire list, I mean, I just opened it up and I see, I see a formula in a column, and you expect me to go ahead and approve a budget with a formula in a column, a failed formula in a column for 2025 and 2026. So I'm not going to sit here and propose a formula as part of the budget.
Okay.
Did it not print out right or something?
Yes, correct. That would be, when I just opened up a few pages in.
So what you're saying is,
I would like for him to proofread it and bring forth these what he feels that he should have corrected. And then I can provide additional corrections if need be.
Where's the formula from?
it's the last page.
Total cleanup day.
Last page, pink column.
So what you want to do is, you're going to send him,
No.
or you already have sent him an email?
No.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be sending out and reaching out on finite details like this that should not be overseen or
Okay.
oversight. So I would like that our town administrator re-review our budget and look for any details that need to be corrected. So we're not submitting.
So I guess, to another point of confusion, I guess, is that, I guess this was printed prior to the new fiscal year, because we're currently in the fiscal year 2025-26. It
That's
started
correct.
this month, and the blue column is saying that that's the current fiscal year, and it's
Correct.
probably because of when it was printed, but,
Should have had the anticipation, but again, just minor oversights like that, it's just,
and so that makes that, I'm trying to figure out that divide by zero problem.
I know, it's,
Change from the 2025, 26. Yeah, I'm with JT, I'm not clear so we're changing the 2025, 2026 budget that we just approved recently. Is that-
correct.
And that's not what the pink column is saying, it's
not
changes
designated.
from 20, okay, I get where you're coming from. So we can't take action on this tonight.
Correct, this is exactly what I voted nay on the budget, which I believe that this is one of the many reasons that I saw that should have had minor corrections. Now, it was my responsibility to send over these over, however, I was going to send them to the Mayor Pro Tem as he requested. But now I'm giving the directive in a public setting.
So what was the intent though to do? It looks like it's to reduce the budget for these two line items?
I believe,
Yeah, so we dropped the tax rate to.
no new tax revenue.
Oh,
tax
yeah, that's
revenue,
right.
So we had to adjust.
Yeah, I know we started on that.
32,
Thanks
right.
for handicapping town, but okay. I started throwing that out there, but I think that was definitely not the right move to make. We are so hamstrung by the state law that they passed a few years ago to be able to manage our tax budget because of the grandstanding of folks wanting to make sure that we're not able to tax. It's really put a damper on local municipalities.
Well, like I said earlier, I think we're also going to be able to do more now that that 100,000 threshold is up.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be able to give more back to the taxpayers at this time, and that should help some.
And there's all that, yeah, okay.
Just
So
keep that in mind.
this is why we had to do this.
Right.
Yes.
And you could argue that we're out of bounds right now because if we're not gonna move forward on reducing this, we currently are, and of course Clark's not here right now, but if our budget doesn't tie out to what our tax is, and again, 32,000, I think it ended up being a very minuscule amount for each household, so why did we even do that after months of being happy with the budget the way it was and the tax rates the way it was? This just causes a lot of problems. So if we don't act on this tonight, I believe we are actually in violation of state law.
I believe we already approved the budget, it's the approving of the, so we're
We
not
approved
changing.
the tax rate.
We
The tax
approved
rate
the-
now doesn't match with the budget, which I believe is against the state law. We all made that change, by the way, to change the tax rate. You should have, in that very session, changed the budget to match. Sorry, but.
You're correct. I would agree that there was definitely a
So-
discrepancy of numbers.
So given that, I'd say we need to pass this and straighten all this other stuff out later, because this needs to match.
No, I was just, so I wasn't
And I
contesting
think that-
anything else other than this is why. I was addressing the
Yeah, the
agenda.
discrepancy in the,
Mhm.
I'm with you on that. It's
Right.
just talking through in this and figuring out what's going on. If it truly is what this second section is to align us with the budget, if this ordinance is written close enough, and is it referencing this attached document, or is that just for our help? That's Exhibit A. Well, that's coming. So yeah, we need to get this straightened out. And we can operate without it being exactly aligned, as long as we have something on the agenda to get this fixed as soon as we can, which I think next session's probably okay, but we may even want to consider having a special meeting. I don't know. This is a mess.
Well, that was the reason for the last meeting, is that, I guess, we had a special meeting. So we were
Yeah.
already granted that extension,
Yeah,
if it was an extension, I don't know, but, so.
right. Golly, this is a mess. But I think we're okay. I think we're okay to operate as long as we are actively taking actions to fix this.
Okay.
And I do have a hard time fixing it tonight with this Exhibit A not being formatted properly, because it's talking about last year and this year, and the years aren't listed right in the blue column, and the pink column's not, so I'm with you on that part.
And that's exactly what I was
And I
trying to
believe, from what I
express.
read, if I'm not mistaken, and I wish Clark was sure I can ask him that, I believe as long as we operate underneath the current budget,
We don't overspend it, yes.
then
And we-
we're okay to get this repaired.
And we have, so the other cover, saving grace is a very small amount. They
Correct.
It is a small amount. And we have an action, and we're gonna have an action to fix it next time and get these Exhibit As fixed.
Correct.
So sorry but yeah, that's a mess.
Okay,
Let's get it fixed.
okay.
But yeah, we need to make sure that we're not gonna overspend that, but that is out of line with our taxing rate.
Okay, so we're gonna no action on this? Just follow up with
Hey,
the,
this one we may want to table because it needs to come back.
okay,
Yeah.
Can
okay,
you make that?
I make a motion that we table the discussion on ordinance 291-25-10-13,
Amending the budget.
amending the budget for the fiscal year 2025-26 until such time, until we can bring it back, hopefully next month, regular session, to correct the Exhibit A, to have the proper columns and numbers and dates.
okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, moving on to 6.8, discussion of possible action on renewing Texas Health Benefits Insurance.
So it's going up by a very small amount, it looks like.
Where do you see that? Sorry.
The last, second page? Page
Okay.
2.
Sorry. Oh, there it is.
There's a cost diff and it's,
Got it.
under $100.
Yep.
Unless I'm misreading it. I guess per employee, so $200.
Oh, my.
$240 total, if I'm doing math in public again. And so that's, is there any consternation around that?
I'm good with it.
Yes, I motion that we approve 8.1 to the renewal of the Texas Health Benefits Insurance.
6.8.
I'm sorry, 6.8.
6.8.
6.8,
I'll second that.
Texas Health Benefits Insurance.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Sorry, guys, I'm having to do paperwork at the same time. 6.9, discussion regarding new computer hardware. This is y'all's specialty.
If it catches fire, it's your specialty?
I won't run away from that one.
We're covered in either case.
So I know that, I think she said this is a new computer, is that correct? And then
No.
they changed
You
another
need
one?
2 computers is what she said in there.
Okay.
She did say something about being able to see tonight,
Yeah.
this
It
was
worked, yeah.
Okay.
No.
So this one's new, we need 2 more?
No,
No? What did we see tonight that was new?
nothing.
Nothing, okay.
Oh, I thought she said,
No,
she'd
it's
update.
not.
Okay.
No, it's got Windows 11 on it, that's a different
Oh,
state.
Oh, okay, okay.
But it hasn't been updated.
Okay.
I'm sorry, it hasn't been replaced. So what she was talking about was 2 computers need to be replaced, based on options.
Well, there's 5 computers on here.
Agreed, but option 2 is the one she's talking about.
Understood.
Everything else should handle it.
Is it within our budget?
If we're concerned over that, we could table that until the corrections made.
Option.
Why do we, so I need to understand,
I'm trying to find option 2 here.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Okay.
for.
Why do I need a rally bar?
well, I guess maybe the second,
Well, there's all kinds of stuff.
Right here.
second page is,
I think maybe the last page is CPCs.
right.
Managed service onboarding.
There's a hardware as a service.
Yeah, no, we're not going, I strongly recommend we do not go there.
No.
Not for the service we're getting. The second page is the 2 PCs.
Second page.
Hard PC, laptop and desktop.
Oh, quantity 4, gotcha.
Huh? The very last page
This
is
is the last slide,
This one.
that one right there.
Yeah,
Who's the laptop for?
I don't know. So
Scott has a laptop unless it's replacing
we have
his.
a laptop that needs.
That's what I'm saying,
supported.
where's the other laptop for? That's what that PC's for. I move we table this till next week.
I second that motion.
I will visit with.
I'd like clarification on the hardware, you know, what it's replacing, so if we had some,
Well, I
PC names.
do know one is right, the conference room PCs, toast. It is too old, won't do TPM.
Okay, all in favor, on table?
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, German is happening.